It started with the knocking. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just 3 slow taps on my apartment door at exactly 3:17 a.m. The first night, I thought it was some drunk neighbor messing with the wrong door. I live on the 4th floor of a half-dead building that smells like dust and cheap cigarettes. Weird stuff happens here. But the second night, it happened again. 3:17 a.m. 3 knocks. I checked the peephole immediately this time. No one. The hallway lights flickered like they always do, humming softly. Empty. Silent. Fucking idiots, I muttered, opening the door quickly. Nothing. Just cold air. That's when I noticed it. A symbol drawn on the wall across from my apartment. It hadn't been there before. It looked like a circle carved into the paint, with something like antlers inside it. The lines were thin but deep, like someone used a blade, not a marker. I stared at it for too long. And I swear to God, the longer I looked, the more it felt wrong. Like my eyes couldn't focus properly. Like the symbol wasn't staying still. I touched it. The paint around it was still damp. Fresh. Someone had been there seconds ago. Behind me, my apartment door slowly creaked. I froze. I knew I hadn't left it open that wide. The hallway felt heavier. Like the air got thicker. That was the first time I felt it, that crawling sensation. Like someone standing right behind you. Close enough to breathe on your neck. I turned around fast. Nothing. Just the dark inside my apartment. But I didn't feel alone anymore. I stepped back inside and locked the door. 3 times. That night, I didn't sleep. At 4:02 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I shouldn't have answered. But I did. Silence. Then breathing. Slow. Calm. Controlled. Not random. Not accidental. Intentional. Hello. I whispered. More breathing. Then a voice. Low. Almost gentle. We see you. The call ended. I checked the window immediately. 4th floor. No balconies. No fire escape. But across the street, under the broken street lamp, someone was standing there. Still. Watching my window. They were dressed in black. Hood up. Face invisible. And they didn't move. Not even when I turned on the lights. Not even when I pressed my forehead to the glass. They just stood there. Like they were waiting. The next morning, the symbol was gone. Completely gone. Paint smooth. Wall clean. Like it had never been there. I almost convinced myself I imagined it. Until I opened my phone. There was a photo in my gallery. Taken at 3:18 a.m. Of me. Standing in my doorway. Looking at the symbol. The photo was taken from behind me. Inside the hallway. And I live alone. At the bottom of the image, 1 line of text. You opened the door. And that's when I realized something. The knocking wasn't random. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't someone trying to scare me. It was permission. And I gave it. I didn't go to work that morning. I just sat on the edge of my bed staring at my phone. The photo was still there. Timestamp. 3:18 a.m. No edits. No filters. No weird metadata. Just a clean image of me standing in my doorway like a complete idiot. I zoomed in. Behind me, in the darkness of the hallway, something stood in the corner. I hadn't noticed it before. It wasn't shaped like a person. It was taller. And wrong. Its head tilted slightly to the side, like it was curious. Like it was studying me. A chill crawled up my spine. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall, but the screen didn't crack. It just lit up again. New notification. Unknown sender. 1 message. You let us inside. My chest tightened. Inside. I checked every room. Bathroom. Empty. Kitchen. Empty. Closet. Empty. Front door still locked. Windows sealed. I felt stupid. Paranoid. But something in the air had changed. The apartment felt crowded. Like the silence wasn't empty anymore. Like something was filling it. I went to the bathroom sink and splashed cold water on my face. That's when I saw it. On my chest. Right over my heart. The symbol. The same circle with antlers. Faint. Like it was under my skin. What the hell? I scrubbed it. Hard. Soap. Hot water. My skin turned red, but the mark didn't fade. It didn't feel like ink. It felt deeper. Like a bruise. Like it was part of me. My breathing got heavier. I grabbed my jacket and left the apartment. I needed air. People. Noise. Anything but that suffocating quiet. The hallway was normal. Too normal. No symbol. No scratches. No sign that anything had ever happened. I stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, the lights flickered once. Then twice. Then everything went dark. Shit. The elevator stopped moving. Total silence. Then a whisper. Right behind my ear. We are closer now. I spun around. Empty. The lights came back on. The elevator resumed moving like nothing happened. When the doors opened on the ground floor, I almost ran out. Outside, the street was busy. Cars. People. Normal life. I felt stupid again. Maybe I was losing it. Maybe stress. Maybe sleep deprivation. Then I saw them. Across the street. 3 figures. All dressed in black. Standing perfectly still. Facing me. One of them lifted their hand slowly. Not waving. Not threatening. Just acknowledging. Like they knew I could see them now. Like I had passed some test. My stomach dropped. People walked right through them. Not around. Through. And no one reacted. No one noticed. Like they weren't there. Except for me. One of them tilted their head. The same way the thing in the photo did. Then all 3 raised their hands and pressed their palms to their own chests. Right over the heart. I felt a burning sensation. Sharp. Violent. I grabbed my shirt and pulled it up. The symbol was darker now. Clearer. Defined. Like it was surfacing. I looked back up. They were gone. Just empty sidewalk. I didn't go back home right away. I walked for hours. Didn't matter where. Just kept moving. Every reflection in every shop window made me flinch. Every person in a black hoodie made my pulse spike. I kept touching my chest like an idiot, checking if the mark was still there. It was. Darker now. Almost carved looking. By 9 p.m., I couldn't avoid it anymore. I had to go back. The hallway light outside my apartment was off. Not flickering. Just dead. My door was closed. Locked. Exactly how I left it. For a second, I felt stupid again. Maybe this was all in my head. Maybe I was just spiraling. Then I saw it. 3 faint fingerprints on the door. Burned into the wood. Right where someone would knock. My hands were shaking when I unlocked it. Inside, silence. No movement. No broken windows. No sign of forced entry. But something smelled different. Like smoke. Like something had burned. I stepped inside and closed the door. Locked it. 3 times. 3:16 a.m. I was staring at the clock when it changed. 3:17. Knock. 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 Not loud. Not aggressive. Just like before. Slow. Deliberate. My entire body froze. This time I didn't go to the peephole. I knew better. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then a 4th knock. That hadn't happened before. My stomach dropped. A 5th. A 6th. Now faster. Not aggressive. Excited. Like something on the other side was smiling. Then the door handle started moving. Slowly. Testing. I stepped back. I didn't open it. I whispered to myself. I didn't open it. The handle stopped. Silence. Then, the knocking came from inside the apartment. Behind me. 3 taps. On my bedroom door. I swear my heart stopped for a second. The bedroom door was closed. I had left it open earlier. I was sure of it. 3 more knocks. From inside the room. Something scraped against the floor in there. Slow. Dragging. My legs felt like concrete. But I moved. 1 step. Another. The air got heavier the closer I got to the door. Like breathing underwater. My hand reached for the handle. It felt warm. Not room temperature. Warm. Like someone had just been holding it. I pulled it open. The room was dark, but not empty. Something was standing in the corner. Tall. Too tall. Its limbs were thin and elongated, like stretched shadows. Its head tilted unnaturally to the side. And on its chest, the same symbol, glowing faintly. It didn't move, didn't attack. It just watched me. Then, slowly, it raised one arm and pointed at me. At my chest. The mark burned. I screamed and stumbled backward. The lights exploded. Literally. Every bulb in the apartment shattered at once. Glass rained down. Total darkness. And in that darkness, I heard whispering. Not one voice. Many. Laird. We teach through fear. We carve through flesh. We open what you closed. Cold fingers brushed the back of my neck. Not solid. Not human. Something else. You opened the door. The whisper was right against my ear. Then silence. I didn't sleep. I just sat on the kitchen floor with my back against the cabinet. Phone flashlight on, staring at my own number on the screen. No call history. No sent message. But there it was. Lesson 2 begins at 3:17. I checked the time. 3:26 a.m. Too late. Whatever Lesson 2 was, it had already started. That's when I noticed something strange. The apartment felt bigger. Not physically, but acoustically. Every small movement echoed slightly longer than it should have. My breathing bounced off walls that suddenly felt farther away. I stood up slowly. The shattered bulbs were still on the floor. But the glass wasn't reflecting my flashlight correctly. The reflections were delayed. A fraction of a second behind my movements. I moved my hand quickly. The reflection lagged. Like a bad video connection. Okay, no. No, no, no. I walked toward the bathroom. Because there's one rule in horror movies, right? You check the mirror. And regret it immediately. The bathroom light switch didn't work anymore, so I used my phone. I looked at myself. Pale. Sweaty. Eyes red. The mark on my chest was darker. Clear. Defined. Like ink under skin. I leaned closer to the mirror. My reflection didn't. It stayed half a second behind. Then it slowly lifted its head. Even though I hadn't moved. My stomach twisted. My reflection was smiling. I wasn't. Don't, I whispered. The reflection's lips moved. But the voice came from behind me. You are adapting. I spun around. Empty bathroom. Back to the mirror. The reflection was normal again. Matching me perfectly. No smile. No delay. Just me. I backed away slowly. That's when my phone buzzed again. Another message from my own number. Observe. The bathroom door slammed shut behind me. The lock clicked. Hard. I grabbed the handle. Wouldn't move. Opened the damn door. Silence. Then the mirror cracked. Right down the center. But it didn't shatter. The crack spread in a perfect circle. Antlers forming from the fractures. The symbol. Across the entire mirror. The room got colder instantly. My breath visible in the air. Then something stepped out of the mirror. Not climbing through. Not breaking it. Just emerging. Like the glass was liquid. It was me. Exactly me. Same clothes. Same face. But the mark on its chest was glowing. Bright. It tilted its head. You are still afraid, it said. Its voice was mine. But deeper. Layered. Like two versions speaking at once. What do you want? I asked. It smiled slightly. We do not want. It stepped closer. The air around it distorted slightly, like heat waves. We reclaim. My heart started racing so hard it hurt. You opened the door. You allowed recognition. The mark is acceptance. I didn't accept shit, I snapped. It laughed softly. You answered. The mirror behind it began to ripple. Shapes moving inside it. Tall shapes. Watching. Waiting. My double leaned in closer. Its eyes were darker now. Almost black. The chanting wasn't loud. It wasn't even clear. But it was real. Low voices, layered together, rising and falling in a rhythm that felt ancient. Not a song. Not exactly words. More like breathing in unison. It was coming from the living room. Slowly, I stepped out of the bathroom. The apartment lights were still dead, but something else was glowing now. Soft orange flickering. Like firelight. My living room was wrong. The walls weren't walls anymore. They were trees. Tall. Dark. Bark cracked and twisted. The ceiling stretched upward into blackness, branches weaving above me. The air smelled like wet earth and smoke. And in the center of the room, a fire. A real one. Burning in a circle of stones that definitely hadn't been there before. Around it stood figures. Black robes. Hoods up. Motionless. My breath shook. "This isn't real," I whispered. One of them turned its head toward me. Slowly. Deliberately. Then another. And another. Until every single hooded figure was facing me. The chanting stopped instantly. Silence crushed the air. Then one of them stepped forward. Not floating. Not glitching. Walking. The robe shifted as it moved. Solid. Heavy. It stopped inches away from me. Close enough that I could see under the hood. And I wish I couldn't. It was my face. Older. Thinner. Eyes hollow but aware. "You walked away," it said calmly. Its voice sounded like wind through dead leaves. "I was never here," I snapped. It tilted its head slightly. "You were the first." My heart skipped. The others slowly lowered their hoods. All of them were me. Different ages. Different versions. Some looked tired. Some looked angry. Some looked completely empty. The fire flared higher. "You opened the door again," the one in front of me continued. "We waited." "For what?" "For you to remember." The mark on my chest burned hotter than ever. I grabbed at it, breathing hard. "I don't remember any of this." The forest seemed to darken at my words. The fire dimmed slightly. The older version of me stepped closer. "You built it." The words hit harder than anything else. "What?" "You began the circle. You carved the first symbol." My mind flashed again. Not random images this time. Clear. I saw myself standing in a forest clearing years ago, carving that symbol into a tree, bleeding slightly from my palm. Smiling. I staggered backward. "No, that's not real." The circle of robed figures began walking around the fire slowly. Clockwise. Together. "You sought permanence," one whispered. "You feared being forgotten," another said. "So you created memory," a third added. The fire roared higher. And I understood something horrible. The cult wasn't following me. It wasn't hunting me. It wasn't trying to recruit me. It was continuing something I had already started. "You left before completion," the older version said. "The circle cannot close without its origin." The chanting resumed. Louder now. The trees around us stretched unnaturally tall. The sky above turned red. When the darkness faded, I wasn't in my apartment. I wasn't in the forest either. I was somewhere in between. The air looked cracked. Like reality itself had fractures running through it. Thin glowing lines splitting the world into uneven pieces. The ground beneath me was ash. Soft. Warm. The sky above was black, but something moved behind it. Not clouds. Something bigger. I stood slowly. My chest felt hollow. I looked down. The mark was gone. Not faded. Gone. In its place was an empty circle carved directly into my skin. No blood. Just absence. A missing piece. That's progress. The voice came from behind me. Calm. Controlled. Not layered. Not distorted. Human. I turned. He stood there without a hood. Without a robe. Without exaggeration. Just me. But different. Not older. Not younger. Clearer. Like a version of me that had never doubted anything. "You left the body," he said casually, walking toward me. "I what?" "You're not in it right now. This is the fracture. The place between." He stepped closer. The cracks in the air pulsed faintly around him. "You always hated this part." "I don't know you." He smiled slightly. "You do. You just lock me away." My pulse started racing. "You're the one from the forest." No, he said softly. They are fragments. Memories. Echoes. He stopped right in front of me. I'm the one who stayed. The ground shifted beneath us slightly. The sky above twitched. What the hell are you talking about? You created the circle because you were terrified of disappearing, he said. Of being meaningless. Of dying without imprint. His eyes didn't blink. You wanted permanence. The cracks in the sky widened for a second, revealing something moving behind it. Something enormous. Watching. You found something older than religion, he continued. Older than cults. Something that feeds on continuation. My throat felt dry. What feeds? He stepped closer. On you. The sky split open for half a second. I saw it. Not fully. Just enough. A shape wrapped around reality itself. Antler-like structures branching infinitely. Eyes embedded in darkness. And inside those eyes, millions of tiny reflections. Of me. Of different versions. Different lives. Different outcomes. Then the sky sealed again. My breathing turned ragged. That thing is the circle, he interrupted. And you gave it access. I didn't mean to. He laughed quietly. You absolutely did. He circled around me slowly. You were brilliant. You figured out how to bind identity to something eternal. The ash under my feet shifted like it was breathing. But you got scared when you realized the cost. What cost? He leaned in close. Control. The cracks in the air flared brightly. This place, he said, gesturing around us, is where the real decisions happen. My head started pounding. You're lying. No, he said calmly. I'm the part of you that never regretted it. The hollow circle in my chest began to glow faintly. He placed his hand over it. Warm. Solid. The sky didn't just crack. It peeled. Like something on the other side was pulling it apart carefully. Patiently, making sure nothing tore too early. The antlered shape pressed closer to the fracture. Not forcing. Not rushing. Waiting. My other self stood calm while the world around us split open. You remember now, he said. And yeah, I did. Not everything. But enough. I remembered standing in that hallway. Years ago. Different apartment. Different life. Same time. 3:17 a.m. I remembered the loneliness. The panic attacks. The feeling that I was fading into nothing. That no one would ever remember I existed. So I searched. Forums. Occult threads. Hidden archives. I wasn't looking for demons. I was looking for permanence. And I found something. Or it found me. A ritual. Simple. Knock 3 times on the door of your own life. Invite the witness. Become the center. I thought it was metaphorical. I was wrong. You initiated the cycle, my other self said calmly. I didn't know what it was. You did. You just didn't understand the scale. The hollow circle in my chest began pulsing. Faster. In sync with the thing behind the sky. The antlers pushed through the crack slightly. Reality bent around them like heat distortion. Stop it. I shouted. The ash around us swirled violently. I don't want this. My other self finally showed emotion. A small flicker of irritation. You always say that at this stage. What stage? He stepped closer. The resistance phase. The cracks in the air spread downward, slicing through the ground. Through me. Through everything. But it didn't hurt. It just felt like alignment. You split yourself because you couldn't handle continuity, he said. So you created fragments. Loops, resets. The words hit me. Resets. That's why I don't remember. Yes. That's why the cult is you. The ash rose again, forming dozens of hooded figures around us. All of them were versions of me from failed cycles. Some screaming. Some obedient. Some completely empty. You try to escape every time, he said softly. And every time you knock again. The antlered shape finally pushed one full limb through the sky. The world tilted. Gravity twisted sideways. I fell to my knees. You are the anchor, he said, kneeling in front of me. Without you, it cannot fully enter. Then let it starve, I hissed. He smiled slowly. It doesn't starve. The sky screamed louder. Cities flickered in the cracks. Buildings glitching. People freezing mid-step. The symbol appearing faintly on skyscrapers. On streets. On skin. It wasn't just my reality bending. It was spreading. You see. He whispered. The circle expands through recognition. The hollow in my chest began filling again. Blinding white light forcing its way inward. If you accept fully, he said, the reset stop. And what happens? You become permanent. The word felt heavy. Permanent. No more fear of fading. Everything was frozen. The sky split open but unmoving. The antlers suspended mid-emergence. The ash hanging mid-air like dust trapped in glass. Even the hooded versions of me were still. Only I could move. And him. My other self. The one who stayed. You're hesitating, he said quietly. For the first time, his voice didn't sound confident. It sounded cautious. I stood slowly. The hollow in my chest was almost filled with that blinding white light. I could feel it trying to complete the circle. Trying to seal. Trying to finalize. You need me, I said. He didn't answer. You said I'm the anchor. Silence. And without me, it can't enter. The antlered shape twitched slightly behind the sky. My other self's jaw tightened. It will wait. For what? For the next cycle. I felt something click inside my mind. A pattern. Loops. Resets. Knocks. It wasn't feeding on worship. It wasn't feeding on fear. It was feeding on repetition. On continuation. On me choosing it. That's the trick, I whispered. My other self stepped closer. You misunderstand. No, I said calmly. You do. The white light in my chest flared brighter. He reached toward it instinctively. I grabbed his wrist. And for the first time, he looked scared. If I close the circle, it continues. Yes. If I become the center, it enters. Yes. But if I break the pattern? His expression shifted. Slowly. No, he said. The cracks in the sky trembled. The antlers pulled slightly backward. You can't break it, he said more firmly now. You are the origin. Exactly. The hollow in my chest stopped filling. The light paused. Frozen at the edge of completion. What are you doing? He demanded. I exhaled slowly. You said I split myself because I couldn't handle permanence. He nodded cautiously. So what happens if I stop trying to survive it? Silence. What happens if I stop fighting it? The ash began falling. The hooded figures flickered slightly. And stop accepting it. The sky trembled harder. The antlered shape recoiled half an inch. You can't refuse existence, he said. I'm not refusing existence. I looked up at the massive fracture above us. I'm refusing the role. The hollow in my chest began cracking. Not filling. Cracking. Thin fractures spreading outward from the circle. My other self stepped back. You don't know what that does. I think I do. The cracks in my chest spread faster. Not painful. Just destabilizing. If I'm the anchor, I said, my voice steady, then I don't close the door. The sky shrieked. If I don't close it, and I don't open it. The fractures in the air multiplied. Then there's no threshold. My other self lunged toward me. Stop. Too late. I drove my fingers into the hollow circle in my chest. And pulled. It wasn't flesh. It wasn't bone. It was structure. I tore the circle open. Not completing it. Destroying it. Reality screamed. The antlered shape recoiled violently as the crack in the sky began collapsing inward on itself. There was no explosion. No dramatic flash of light. No final scream from the sky. Just silence. Not the heavy silence from before. Not the suffocating, watching kind. This silence was empty. Clean. I opened my eyes. I was lying on my apartment floor. Morning light coming through the window. Soft. Normal. No trees. No fire. No ash. My chest hurt. I looked down immediately. No symbol. No hollow circle. Just skin. Red where my fingers had pressed. But intact. My phone was on the floor next to me. Screen black. No notifications. No 317. I grabbed it with shaking hands. Battery at 12%. No unknown messages. No photos. No call logs from myself. The gallery was empty from last night. Like nothing had happened. I sat up slowly. The apartment looked small, ordinary, messy in a boring way. No shattered bulbs. All the lights worked. I stood carefully, half expecting something to shift, to flicker, to glitch. Nothing. I walked to the bathroom, looked in the mirror. My reflection moved perfectly in sync. No delay. No smile. Just me. I stared at myself for a long time. Waiting. Nothing stared back except exhaustion. I checked the hallway. Normal. No symbol carved into the wall. No burned fingerprints. Just peeling paint and the smell of dust. I laughed. A dry, almost hysterical laugh. Okay, I whispered. Okay. I went outside. The street was alive with regular noise. Cars. People. Conversations. No figures in black. No one standing still. No one watching me. For the first time in days. I felt alone. Truly alone. And it terrified me. Because I realized something. The circle wasn't gone. It was never a thing that existed independently. It was structure, pattern, recursion. And I had broken it. Which meant there was no reset. No loop. No hidden anchor. If I die now, that's it. No continuation. No branching. No permanence. Just ending. The thought made my stomach twist. My phone buzzed suddenly. My heart slammed against my ribs. I almost dropped it. Unknown number. My breathing went shallow. I answered slowly. Silence. No breathing. No whisper. Just faint static. Then a voice. Soft. Familiar. Mine. The first night after it ended, I didn't sleep. Not because something knocked. Not because something whispered. Because nothing did. 3:16 a.m. I was awake. 3:17. Nothing. No sound. No shift in the air. No pressure in my chest. Just the hum of the refrigerator and distant traffic. I waited. 3:18. Still nothing. And that silence scared me more than anything else had. Because before, there was always something beneath reality. A second layer. A watcher. A pattern. Now there was just existence. Raw and unstructured. I sat on the edge of my bed and felt something unfamiliar. Weight. Not supernatural weight. Responsibility. There would be no reset if I fucked up. No second cycle. No hidden version of me continuing somewhere else. If I ruin my life now, it stays ruined. If I waste it, it stays wasted. If I disappear, that's final. That's what permanence actually is. Not eternity. Consequence. The days passed. Normal days. Work. Groceries. Conversations. No glitches. No cult symbols. No robed figures in reflections. Sometimes I'd catch myself checking the time at 3:17. Sometimes I'd stare at the hallway wall expecting the symbol to reappear. It never did. And slowly, something changed. The fear of fading. It didn't disappear. It transformed. It became motivation. Because now if I want to matter, I have to actually matter. Not anchor a cosmic parasite. Not build a recursive nightmare. Not carve symbols into trees hoping something bigger remembers me. If I want permanence, I have to build it the boring way. Through actions. Through impact. Through people. Through risk. I used to be terrified of being insignificant. But here's the fucked up truth. Insignificance is freedom. No cosmic role. No eternal responsibility. No antlered God waiting behind the sky. Just a fragile human life that ends once. That's terrifying. But it's real. 1 week later, I stood in front of my apartment door at 3:16 a.m. Not because something told me to. because I wanted to test myself. 3:17. I raised my hand. For a second, muscle memory kicked in. 3 knocks. The ritual. The beginning. My heart pounded. The hallway was silent. Normal. I lowered my hand. No, I whispered. I wasn't going to recreate it. Not out of fear. Not out of curiosity. Not out of loneliness. That's how it starts. The need to feel chosen. Special. Anchored. Watched. But being watched isn't meaning. Being needed by something cosmic isn't purpose. It's dependency. I unlocked my door. Went back inside. Closed it. Once. Not 3 times. Just once. I lay down in bed. No chanting. No whispers. No second version of me waiting in the fracture. Just darkness. The ordinary kind. And for the first time in my entire life, I understood something. The circle didn't want my soul. It wanted my avoidance of responsibility. It thrived on me refusing to live one irreversible life. Now there's no loop. No hidden continuation. No cosmic audience. If I want to leave a mark, I have to earn it. And that's harder than any ritual.